Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome in to cancelthisshow.com. Time is 8:13. It's February 8th. Happy hump day. I'm Vic Faust from Top of the Hassle. Eric Johnson. Hey, we start a little late. We get Eric in studio from the get-go.
Doesn't it feel good to start late?
No, it doesn't.
Wait, welcome to my world. This is fantastic.
I was just waiting for him. I was just
Scotty Gherkin in the studio. Yeah, I know you feel like crap, Scott, but you sound good.
You look good.
And you look good.
Man, I love you guys.
What's wrong with you? Why do you feel bad?
Man, I woke up this morning and
if this
like
is
nasal congestion, headache, light cough, nothing major.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I feel
Me
terrible.
too.
Sounds like yellow fever.
Me too.
I woke up and I felt like I got run over by a bus last night in my sleep.
I think you should wear a mask.
Wait a minute. No.
I almost did just to piss you guys off this morning.
Dude,
That would be funny.
I'm right there with
because we know they work so well.
Scotty,
Yes.
it is not a joke that yellow fever is going around.
Here we
What
go.
is
Here we
yellow
go.
Here we go.
What is yellow fever?
I don't know, but I think we're going to have to
She
do
doesn't even know what she's
we're
talking
going to have
See?
to do a comparison of symptoms.
Well,
It's
I don't
called
know
a
what the hell
respiratory ailment. I got the same thing, buddy. We'll be all right. Except you got to sing this weekend. I do not.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I've been feeling great. Practice great. I wake up today. I'm like, of course I'm sick. It's 3 days before the show.
It's a mental thing.
You'll be
It's coming after you. That's all right.
Know, man.
It's a stress.
This is
Hey, we always welcome you into the show, cancelthisshow.com. Right off the bat this morning, one of our listeners, Drew, says, great job by Joe Biden. He owned the Republicans. I think you're living in la land.
Oh.
Even Democratic speechwriter said, outside of one who gave him an A, that was one of the worst ho-hum, blah, blah speeches I think I've ever heard. Biden's terrible. His administration is terrible. He's the worst president in the history of this country. His administration is the worst in the history of this country.
Yeah.
The speech last night,
Lies.
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 Yeah, and more lies.
And more lies. Do you know that
Here
the
we go.
majority of his accomplishments were actually Trump policies?
I heard about 3 of them.
Many of them were actually Trump policies. The insulin. Trump
That
policy.
was a Trump policy.
Trump policy. You know what Biden did on his first day in office?
No.
He got rid of the $35 a month insulin.
Oh, I remember that. Along with all the executive orders. He also asked, he was talking about making jobs. This economy is not great. I mean, there's another lie. He also, this guy is something else. He also said, I want to work with Republicans. Let's not fight for fighting's sake. He's a flat out effing idiot.
Yes, he is.
And he is a liar. He's a cheater. The guy freaking on his first day signed more executive orders than any president we've ever had. He set the tone for his presidency. But they must think Americans are stupid. And sometimes maybe we are because we accept it. That I want to work with you now. Now that I don't have the House, I want to work with you guys. Yeah.
Liar.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that this country is as divided as it's ever been. It will not get any closer when you have a president and administration like this. And it's sad because it sounds nice to say, can't we all just get along? Yeah, but not when you're in the back corner stabbing everybody in the back.
And what was wrong with his face?
Oh, boy.
We're going to get into that.
I can't wait.
The best part about the night was Trump trolling Biden on True Social. We've never seen a president, former president, or possible second-term president trolling the current president.
It was great. I only saw 3. Were there only those 3 posts? Was
4 or 5 of them?
4 or 5. I only saw 3.
Then they took the phone away from him and said, stop doing it.
I love it.
And one of the weirdest parts of the night, check out this video that we have for you. Doug Emhoff is the husband of Kamala Harris. He's an attorney. I don't know what the hell was going on here, but Eric and Tabitha and Scott, when you guys see the wives and or husbands of coworkers, do you go up and kiss them on their lips?
No,
No, that was so weird.
Never.
I even said to my wife, I go, who the hell's that guy?
Well,
And then it's Kamala's the second gentleman.
Well, here,
Tammy's husband.
check out the video. Scott's going to play the video, and if we can put it on loop, just keep playing it. Is this natural? It's just another example of what the hell is going on with this current administration.
It's not normal. It's not, unless alcohol's involved, that is not normal at all.
All right, here
Oh,
we
you
go.
mean you get drunk and you start kissing people?
I never said that.
She didn't have to. Here we go.
Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, it's pineapple night at the it's upside down pineapple night.
Just
at the
keep
State of the
playing
Union.
that, Scott, as we talk. I mean,
Welcome to Moss's.
for anybody who doesn't know, Moss is in the St. Louis area. Come and join it. You may get more than what you bargained
Welcome to
for.
Newtown. You'll love your stuff.
This is the first lady.
They probably kissed him because the other two are robots. So
Probably.
I mean, just you kiss on the freaking lip, and
That's
know,
a lip-to-lip kiss.
and they know they are front and that's not by accident. That's not happening by chance. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
that's
Why are we
that's
seeing
creepy.
this? Why are they showing us this? Why are they doing this?
Did you see the little meme that somebody drew up with the heart around them,
What happened
like in the
now?
middle of the kiss?
It's the kiss cam. It's the State of the Union kiss cam.
I looked everywhere for a pineapple emoji last night.
Here we go.
There is none.
Here we
I
go.
don't. Isn't
my
that awkward?
God.
Like I don't even understand that.
I don't understand it either, my friend. I needed somebody to explain this to me because I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. The first lady doing this crap.
How many people do you kiss on their lips?
My wife.
Yeah, the wife.
Well,
That's
it's a
it.
very French thing.
Or
Kissing on the
they're
lips
not
is very-
French.
But they're French kissing. Hello. I'll be- I don't know, man. I wasn't watching any of this garbage because I knew that this is exactly how I was watching LeBron James take over the all-time scoring title last night, and it was much more depressing than this was actually.
Well, he's not even. He's only fifth all time in points per game anyway. There wasn't a lot of good on.
No, I
It's-
couldn't. I'm sorry, good people have canceled this. I couldn't stomach watching the lies because everybody knows, especially you guys who come on to this show every damn day and you guys participate in the same conversations every damn day, that when he brings up fentanyl, you know that he could have stopped this at the border and he didn't. When he brings up the inflation problem, you know that he could have fixed this. You know that he has had all the cards that have screwed this country up in the last 24 months. So my problem is watching something where I have to actually come in here and make sense of what his lies were.
It was all Eric. It was all
So-
lies. There is no way to make sense out of it. All he did was take all of Trump's accomplishments and try to take credit for them. Completely ignored the biggest issues in this country that we face. And he actually said, what did he say about illegal border crossings were down by
He said they were down.
97%? He is delusional. He has lost his mind, or not him, whoever his speechwriter
You
is.
can't take him seriously. He talks about China and how if anything comes at this country, we will take care of it. No, you can't even take care of a balloon, dumbass.
He kind of avoided that, didn't he?
He avoided every
He kind of
serious
avoided
issue.
talking about
This
the
balloon goes 4 miles an hour. What if a supersonic missile comes at the damn United States? How are you going to take that thing down?
Oh my God. We got Kathy Helbig Strict, the experienced real estate partners coming up at 8:30ish. But before we get to that, Tabitha, okay. You brought it up and we have to look at this. When it comes to some strange looking people, Kamala looked weird last night. Biden
boy.
looked weird. Scotty, if you could pull up the glue face, because Tabitha, explain what's happening.
Tabitha, go crazy.
If you go back and look at the video of Biden,
Here we go.
Well, this is the glue face.
yeah, if
This
you look
shows.
at the one half of the woman's face, that's how glue can be used theatrically to age a person's face.
Okay, wait a minute. Which side is which?
Well, the wrinkly
the one on
side
the-
is the
it's-
one with the glue.
Eric, you can't tell?
She's a young person.
No, because when you say glue it, I thought you meant like pull it back, like a facelift.
No.
kind of a
No,
thing.
I'm talking about
Rubbed on
how
the skin and it wrinkles.
Okay,
exactly.
all
If
right.
you're wanting to create an
Yeah, I used to
aged
do that with Elmer's
look.
glue. I used to do that with
Exactly.
Elmer's glue.
The minute I saw, trust me, I didn't even know people did this. When I saw Biden step onto stage
Yeah.
and I saw his face, I'm like, he looks like he has Elmer glue all over his
Okay.
forehead. And so I went and looked it up, and then I'm like, gee, they actually use glue to age someone
Okay.
theatrically,
Okay.
which
so-
is how I found this photo.
And then now we go to Joe Biden and check out Joe Biden, because are you saying that Joe
There
Biden
was something wrong
is a younger
with his
person,
forehead.
that they're doing something to
I
him?
don't honestly, I wish somebody would tell me. There is
That's not
something
even Joe
You're trying to
Biden.
tell them.
there
It
is
doesn't look-
something
The
weird
pictures
going
of Joe
on.
Biden do not look like, there's 4 or 5 different pictures of Joe Biden over the last 15 years.
Yes.
it looks like 4 different guys,
It-
maybe 3.
This guy looks, if you look at the real Joe Biden, this guy looks really nothing like Joe Biden.
His beady little eyes.
He's got beady little eyes.
So what are you saying?
His nose
I always wonder
his
this.
nose is shaped differently.
I always wonder this. Is he an imposter or is the which one is the imposter then?
I think I personally do not think
because this guy was not on his game, whoever he was.
He wasn't. So I don't. You know what, Eric? I wish I knew. I don't.
Kathy
know.
says it's called Botox, a bad Botox job, which can happen if you get. But you'd figure
It
the
makes
president.
your nose shrink.
No, exactly. Yeah. So his
no,
nose
he has
is,
a completely different nose.
Because one picture he's got an arch on his nose that goes out.
That's
this
right.
one, it's like coming in, and it's like
I know
what the
people can
hell is
say,
that?
"Oh, we're
What?
crazy." They can say we're stupid. We're just bringing up, and it's not. I mean, this becomes such a big deal nationwide. People talking about it on chat rooms. That when you have hundreds of thousands of people talking about it, we're going to bring it up and show you. What about Kamala? Check out Kamala. Look at her neck.
Wait, can
I'm
you
sorry,
wait
go
for
ahead.
one? Oh well, we'll go back to that.
No,
Before-
stay.
No, no,
stay.
See,
That's all right,
okay,
that's all
look
right.
at his forehead very carefully.
Okay.
Doesn't it look like there's something under the skin? Like there's something at the top of his head
Well, hold on.
at his
In
hairline
all fairness,
that is not on any of his other photos.
in all fairness, Trump went in. He suntanned. Or fake tanned
well,
or
he
whatever.
used tanning
He
solution.
probably used every instrument at his disposal to look as good as he could.
That's not. I'm not complaining
so maybe
about
that's the
that.
same thing.
But we knew it was him.
Yeah, right.
Whatever's going on right here with Joe Biden's forehead, and it looks like that weird cap, almost like they took something like an implant and pulled skin over it. Whatever is going on
Okay.
there, that's not natural.
Okay.
And that I've not seen that. I looked through probably
Is there a
100
way we can get a
photos of
plastic?
him
Anyone
last
know a
night.
plastic surgeon?
Yes, we're bringing somebody in. Yes, we are
Okay.
getting somebody. The other thing about it, Tabitha, is you say it's not just him looking weird. You think that it's him trying to look like somebody who he is not really.
So, yeah,
You're trying
I
to-
don't know
it's
what's going on.
Okay.
But if you look at this photo, and there's a, did you see the quad photos of all the Joe Bidens in a quad photo? If you guys go to my personal Facebook page, you can see it.
Yeah, I had this picture. I had the
Hmm.
quads ready to go last week.
What's the?
I'll
quads?
send it to Scott.
4
really quick.
photos of Joe Biden
Over
where
the
he looks
years.
completely different.
Hmm.
I'm just telling you, if you look at some of his photos and you look at the photo of the woman with the glue,
Mhm.
you can tell in some of the photos his eyebrows look like they have glue in them.
Hmm.
I know that sounds silly and it sounds crazy. You just have to look for yourself.
So this is the Biden that fell up the plane stairs? Is this the Biden that fell off? Is this the goofy ass Biden?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I want someone to tell me because I don't understand myself
Interesting.
what's going on.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. No, I'm not. I have no pony in this race. That's for sure. But it is
So-
interesting because I do see him quite a bit. I see your pictures that you send out quite a bit, and I don't know. what to
Okay,
make of them.
Scott, I sent you the quad box. You can just do it. And then, so Scott's going to take that down. By the way, as we said, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk with Kathy Hilbig-Strick from Experience Real Estate Partners. Okay, Tabitha, I get it. So you just said that since it looks so bad, I used to work with somebody whose Botox was so bad, it kind of looked like that.
like Madonna.
But I knew.
Oh gosh. What's
That's a
going
whole
on
new
with
phase.
her?
Hold
The
on.
whole
Wait a minute.
Those
I've
are
been going
like
to.
forehead implants. That ain't Botox.
I've been
Like,
going-
She looks like
I've been going 3 days now.
Did you see
I've
the
seen-
quad box? Just pop it up whenever you get it, Scott. There it is. Okay, what do you want to talk about with this, Tabitha?
Okay, Tab, go
And
crazy.
Just how different all of these photos look. And if you take it, the one in the top right corner, and really look at it,
Yeah.
it looks just like the lady with the glue on her face.
Okay. What about the one on the left? Which is
The
which?
one on the top left is Joe Biden when he was vice president.
Okay.
And I do see a different nose.
They are different noses.
Okay. So
And if
what are
you do
they
a side by
brothers?
side- I have.
Are they doppelgangers? What are they?
I don't know. Maybe he had a nose job. I don't know.
Kathy, welcome to the show, by the way.
Kathy's
Kathy's
standing
like,
by in
I'm out of
studio.
here. You guys
Kathy-
are all crazy.
Kathy's like, the weirdest thing I thought we were going to talk about was barn dominiums.
Scotty, before we get to can we go to Tabitha one to talk about
Oh, my
Kamala's
God.
neck?
all right. So before I show this, I gotta let everybody know that I have to, I should probably publicly apologize to my wife.
Why?
Publicly
Because-
apologize to your wife.
So last night, okay, here's the picture. So I turn this on and she comes in and sits down, and the first thing she says is, "What's wrong with her neck? Look at
Oh,
it. She's
boy.
got a mask on." Like da 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 da. And I'm like, will you quit with the conspiracy crap? I said, sit down or I'm turning this off because I don't need this kind of stress.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, she's sending pictures of it. I'm like, oh my Lord.
Well, people were
I'm
messaging.
I'm sorry, honey.
People were messaging me.
Can it just be a big neck and
And
an
they're
older
like,
neck?
What's wrong with
Yes.
Cammy's neck?
I don't know. It's a pretty
Yes.
defined line, and it was
Mm.
very
Well, there's like a
strange.
piece that sticks out. I don't have
Oh
a
my
piece of
God.
my neck that sticks out.
If it wasn't for these zany kids, I would have gotten away
Yes.
with it.
Very nice. Very nice. Outstanding. Well, no,
so it
Kamala's,
rubs you the wrong way.
Kamala's neck. Come on. This is disgusting. Kamala's neck has been kind of odd for many years.
I have no issue with the neck. The Biden
Okay.
pictures of with 4 different guys. That's the one I'm like, okay, I could study that a little more.
Sometimes nature is not nice to all of us. How's that sound?
That's the truth.
You all right with that? I mean, I don't look the same as I did back when I was 24.
Nor
for
do
sure.
any of us.
So I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna have to be pissed off about Biden's policies and not the way he looks. Okay, I think his plastic surgeon's done a fantastic job. His brain surgeon not so good.
Well, you know who always seems to look pretty damn good? It's Kathy Hilbig-Straight.
Oh, yes.
Boy.
Kathy's
Doesn't she look nice.
Kathy's
Doesn't she
getting
look
set
nice?
up in the studio. Kathy, are we really going to start talking barndominiums today, or did we have something else
we
to
actually
talk about?
are. We got to put that off a week.
I'm done. I am completely done with my barn dominion talk. I thought it was going to go farther than
Why
it
don't I believe
did.
that?
I thought it was going to go farther than it did, but it didn't. Okay.
Actually, Eric, I've been
I'm out.
sent
I'm
by
done.
listeners and viewers
Yes.
2 more videos
Yes.
of barndominiums and people who focus on barndominiums.
Oh, why wouldn't you want to?
So
do
we
that?
can hit barndominiums up next week,
Sure.
ladies
She
and
doesn't
gentlemen.
want to do that. She doesn't want to.
I don't think Kathy has a lot of barndominiums
just
in her
don't-
inventory.
It's not my specialty, man.
She's got more interesting things to talk about, and she's going to sell me on something completely different.
And there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
Where do you want to start today? By the way, Kathy Hilbig-Strict, she is the owner, the CEO, the boss, the big mama from Experience Real Estate.
I see your
Yes.
billboard every day.
Do you?
She's
Which
all over
one?
the place.
Don't you feel so?
Which one?
Don't you feel
St.
important?
Charles?
Yes.
Chesterfield?
Yeah, the big boy. When don't you?
Where
you feel,
don't you see her?
I know there's like 1,000 cars there, and you go, "That's me." What you got?
There you go. That's right. That's right.
What again?
Yes.
If you have any questions throughout the segment, just let us know. Jump in. Every week that Kathy joins us, you guys are like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that. I need so much." If there's anything real estate related, anything mortgage related,
For all.
contact her team. You don't want to waste time, and you certainly don't want to make mistakes. And I think we've all been through the real estate process and realized, oh man, I'd probably do that a little bit different. That's why we bring Kathy in here. Where are we starting today, our friend?
Well, let's just start with a quick little update of the market because everyone.
Okay.
That's
That's a question everybody asks whenever I meet them. And this week again,
we're seeing
seeing
less inventory. Inventory down slightly.
so we've had a
Every single week we've had a decrease in
Wait,
inventory. but
Can you
it's
start that
increasing.
over for our listeners? Because we had some sound that went bad just for a second.
Just for
Sure.
a
And
nanosecond.
I didn't want anything to go bad from that standpoint. Scott's
No
going to come
problem.
back in. I do remember 2 weeks ago, you said, I think there was around, 352 homes available throughout the St. Louis metro area.
No.
last week.
It was less than that.
And then last week it was less, I thought.
It was
I think
less.
we started
like 380 something, then it was 360 something, and right now, as we speak, it is 341 new listings.
But the good news is last week we had 98 coming soon. We have 116 coming soon. So it's starting to pick up ever so slightly.
Wow.
But the other good news is there's more pending sales. Are we still not having sound?
No, we're
No, we're
Okay.
good.
Sounds good now.
If
Your
you see
face
me
looks
looking weird, that's me and
perplexed.
Scott looking at
Yeah,
each other.
That's
That's
me.
our
It's
perplexed
me.
and
It's me
concerned.
disgusted with the market in
Yeah.
St. Louis, man.
You and
We
me
got to get
both.
some inventory.
But
in
it
this
was
place.
so. How long? You said 98 are coming when?
98 last week. We're coming soon. And 116 this week. So we have a little bit more, meaning they're in the queue. So let me explain a little bit because this is one of the things I kind of want to touch on too. People get confused about the different terminology in real estate. Sometimes you'll see, contingent. You'll see pending. You see coming soon.
Yeah, I see that a lot now.
A lot. So then there's another category that the public doesn't see,
Okay.
and that's called withheld.
Mm.
So, and that's something new in the last couple of years. What happened is the National Association of Realtors stepped in. I think it was 2020, and basically said, We're tired of all these off-market houses selling without them going through the MLS funnel. So
Okay. Whose problem is that, first of all?
And
Is
that would guess be a relationship
they-
between investors and real estate, or people they know telling them before it hits the market.
So
the
let me
MLS.
way back up. So about 7 or 8 years ago, when we really kind of came out of the 2008 slump and we started to see a pretty active market.
Yes.
That's about the time that social media really, really took off. So for an example, I'll speak for myself. Back then, I could go on a listing appointment,
Right.
find a house that maybe needs some work to be done.
Okay.
So typically, people try to do that stuff first, and then they call you, and then I walk in and go, "Oh God, I wish you would have called me first," right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So we started marketing people like, let us in first
Mhm.
because we want to guide you on what to do to sell your home. So now we're in these doors, sometimes months before these houses are ready to go on the market.
Okay.
So there were no restrictions back then on how you could market a home for sale. So as long as I had it listed, I could put a sign in the yard, and
Yep.
this is where the birth of Coming Soon came from. You could put a sign in the yard, slap a sign on it that says Coming Soon. No days on the market are counting because you're not parked in the MLS, which is the agent facing
Okay.
system that
Yes.
puts all the properties in there. That system feeds to Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, all that stuff, right? So that's where people get it from. So the first stop is MLS, then it's syndication.
Gotcha.
So back then I could skip the MLS at first because I don't want to park a house in there for 4 months while I'm getting it ready. Now the days on the market are ticking when you're not even trying to sell it. So now that hurts the consumer to do that.
Gotcha.
So what I could do, because we have such a big following in the area, I could post it on my social media and get all kinds of attention on it without the MLS.
Mm.
So oftentimes we would sell these properties before they went into the data of the MLS system. So people started abusing that. They started, the pocket listings started coming out of, well, hey, if I don't list it and let all these other realtors know, and I just save it for myself and bring my buyers, I get to keep the full commission instead of splitting the commission. So with anything that's good, people abuse it, right?
Okay.
So that became abused over time.
That sucks.
It does suck. It does. So, and then other things were abused. And then the MLS is crying foul of like, we now don't have all the data. Now there's a percentage of homes that are selling off market. So you can't, when you go to do your comparables and things like that, it's not easily found. It's not found what they sold for. And then they also, again, was trying to protect the consumer against pocket listings. And is it really best for the consumer to only be marketed to a percentage of people versus as many people as you're going to get when you go into the MLS syndication? So there became this big vote on it. It was a huge ordeal. And they passed a rule called clear cooperation. And what that does is it requires it requires agents to, when you list a property, it must go in the MLS in some form or fashion within a certain amount of time. So they had to create these new categories. So one of them is withheld. So for the same example I gave you, I go in, there's 4 months out because I got to replace floors, paint, do the kitchen cabinets, whatever. Now we've got 4 months, but when I'm doing that work, I need to be under contract with those people because I've many a times back in the day have gone in and helped people remodel their whole house and then they end up selling it without me or something else. So you got to get under, happens. Or they go, never mind, we're not moving. And I'm like, I just worked for free for 4 months and brought in all my people.
Yeah.
So you get them under contract to do all that stuff. But now the MLS, as you said, you got to park it somewhere where you don't want the days to count. So they created this category called withheld. So withheld means it is listed. We do have the data. It's coming eventually in the MLS because now it's been categorized.
Yeah.
But no public marketing can happen. No showings can happen. It's literally a prepare type of category.
Yeah.
But your own brokerage can see all those houses. So when the inventory went a couple years ago, that's right about the time cooperation happened. So all those coming soon houses, at first you could show those and they changed that rule later. Now you can't even show the coming soon houses.
Yeah.
So you need a realtor to be able to maneuver all of this stuff that the consumer doesn't know on the back end of how we can and can't market your house.
Gosh.
Because once you learn how to do all this, you can learn the process of coming in through the withheld, get a little bit of exposure. That helps us determine, are we priced right or not? Do we need to do some more things to the house? Are we getting any kind of hits off it in a small little vacuum of just your own brokerage seeing it? Then it can go into the coming soon phase. Now I can publicly market it. Now I can put a sign in the yard. They only allow 21 days max to do that. So that's a ramp up period that causes a frenzy. And that did help cause all the frenzy that we had. Then you move it into an active mode and people can show the house.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
I have so many friends that work in real estate, and I know so many people buying and selling houses. I don't think people understand how important it is
They
to
do
have an
not.
agent and talk to the agent before you make any changes to your home. Because a lesson a lot of people I know have learned is they go and they do this work on their home. The agent comes in and they say, okay, you just spent all this money, but these are things that would not improve your price.
Say it louder for the people in the
Yeah.
back, Tabitha.
And somebody from her comment line said, and Kathy's so knowledgeable. If I had her, I'd keep all these sleazy trade secrets to herself. But it shows you who Kathy is as a person
Yes.
and why you can trust experienced real estate partners.
And people don't realize there's strategy. I mean, if
Yes.
you're a good agent and you know these things, then you strategize to get your clients' houses sold or to find your buyer a house.
And you know, when you walk into a home, you can look at a home and you can say, okay, in this neighborhood, in this market, at
Mhm.
this price level, if you do XXX,
Yes.
you're going to get more money. But if you do
Correct.
XXX, it's not going to make a difference.
Right.
And
It's
if you have
just
questions,
money out of your pocket.
you contact
Yes.
Kathy and her team at 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD, talking with Kathy Helbig-Strick when it comes to our real estate market right now.
Yes. And then, the other thing too, Tabitha, with calling us in advance, I find that most people have that, I need to clean my house first. I need to organize it. I'm embarrassed. It's the embarrassed
And that
factor.
can cause people to hesitate calling.
Always
Yeah.
causes people to hesitate calling. And what I tell people all the time is we're part of your team of the before picture. If you don't think of us that way, then we're probably not maximizing what we can do for you. So definitely don't let that stand in the way. I've seen everything. You are not going to shock me to walk into your house. But we will give you great advice up front on what to do. And a lot of times what you don't even need to do. Because a lot of times I'll come in and they have a list a mile long that's going to take them a year to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I can tear that in half and say, this isn't going to matter. This isn't going to matter.
Exactly.
It seems like, I tell you what, it seems like just the housing market's down so much, or the inventory. You got these kind of abusive kind of corporations coming in buying. It's almost like the homeowners like, look, I'm going to put my $200,000 house on the market for $400,000, and I don't care if I sell it. I sell it. If not, I'm just going to keep the damn thing. When did that happen? Because I remember a day when I moved back to St. Louis. You went and looked for a house, and you might have negotiated $5,000 off the price. You might have negotiated some carpet here and there, but in the end of the day, 40 days later, you were buying a house with a negotiated little. When did we get into this like chess match of buying houses?
Literally just in the last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Damn.
I mean, before that, it was still becoming a seller's market, but it wasn't an intense seller's market like it was. It was balanced for a while.
Mhm.
So that's when the whole social media thing came out. And we were able to use that to our advantages to expose people. But those houses weren't necessarily selling in a day. They were selling, in a few days or a week. And then for me, I saw that ahead of time because running a business, you have to have inventory. If you don't have inventory, you don't have sales. So when all of a sudden it seemed to kind of quickly turn from that crazy buyer's market to where they were, after we came out of the bubble and they were offering $50,000 below and you'd price it. The strategy back then is knowing that a buyer's mindset is, it's a buyer's market. So whatever you're asking, I'm going to offer you less. So then you had to go in with your seller and go, so we got to ask a little more, knowing they're going to come in a little less so that we meet in the middle.
What about a no dicker sticker system? How about if we just put the price on the damn door? And
because the consumer next door doesn't abide by that.
Well, we did talk to a representative the other day. I'd love for Vic to touch on this a little bit, but we were talking about the the BlackRocks coming in, and
Mhm.
do you think there should be legislation put in the House about having these corporations coming in, and it hurts you a little bit because they'll pay $300,000 for a $200,000 house
Yeah.
to rent it out for the next 30 years. But do you think that we should put legislation in to kind of tap that down to let the people who want to buy a house to live in it? What do you think about that?
First of all, I don't feel like it will hurt me because there's always houses to sell. And, ultimately, if we keep the housing industry healthy, it helps us all.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a fine line for me to say yes or no on, because, again, it's free enterprise. People can go buy what they want and pay what they want. And on some instances, it's helping a seller out to get that type of a.
And that's what capitalism is.
Yes.
It exactly
because it
is.
was me, Eric, that asked Andrew Bailey about
Okay.
that. He had no idea what I was talking about. Hopefully he'll
Andrew
read
Bailey,
into it.
the Missouri Attorney
Yeah.
General.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll read into it. But yeah, we don't want to promote anything that's going to hurt your sales, of course.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried about it. It's out there. It's
I know.
happening. Nothing's stopping it right now.
Yeah, I always feel a
And-
little sorry for seeing a house in the middle of a subdivision that's rented by a company that deals with apartment buildings. I really do. I always feel in my heart like it hurts the community. It hurts people trying to actually sell and buy houses for real.
But there are good renters
Yeah,
out there too.
yeah.
There's some good people
I
who
think
do
that
rent
is
those
a
houses.
mindset in the past that's
Mhm.
probably going to be different now, because our real estate world and our home ownership world is changing.
And a lot of real estate agents help people rent homes.
Correct.
You know-
and if they're renting homes in the neighborhoods that have HOAs, then at least there's still some restrictions on what the property's looking like. 'Cause
Okay.
ultimately, it can look one way inside, and that's not affecting you as a neighbor. It's what it looks like on the outside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that does affect you. I'm telling you, we list house all day long when Sanford and Son lives next door.
Right.
It's not a good thing.
Kathy,
So-
you let us know today when you're good to take viewer questions after the
Sure.
topics that you're trying to cover as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm ready whenever.
Okay.
We got off on a side tangent of my
And
categories.
and by the way, at some point, when do we get your husband in to talk about the mortgage industry?
he's in the audience today, but he's grounded right now.
He
so-
is. We had Steve Strick on our radio show, and he was fabulous.
Yes. Very soon, where he's in a little transition right now, so he gets to be in the audience today.
Yes. I'd put him on the spot though, because but I hadn't
have a
talked to
gag order on
anybody.
him.
I haven't talked to anybody who knows as much about the mortgage industry
Yes, he is very, very
either,
knowledgeable.
besides your husband.
I got so many questions for him right now. It's
I-
sick.
Kathy,
Save 'em
from
up.
our cancel this comment line, when is the housing price going to bust? Quote, inflation, bubble bursting. Any ideas, any advice to give
No.
people how to tell?
I don't feel there's going to, and it's not just me, it's based on the insiders that I listen to as well. It doesn't seem to be that there's an imminent bubble per se, because we still have the supply and demand that it's so far off balance
Mhm.
that that's what is going to prevent us from going into
Yeah.
a bubble. The last bubble was economically driven. It was mortgage. There was all kinds of things that were going on that a lot of people have equity in their house and they didn't have equity then.
Okay.
We're going to see it balance in ebbs and flows. Like we saw it come to a screeching almost stop last fall.
Yep.
Then our December was pretty good. Now our January is a little bit slow again, but the predictions are like we were involved in an offer yesterday that had 30 offers on it.
Mhm.
So we are
In the St. Louis area?
Yeah, we are expecting
Oh my gosh.
that to heat
30
back up
I
again.
saw a dilapidated house. It looked like a crack house. They wanted $300,000 for it downtown St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, housing
And
is so expensive.
I
in the
cannot.
city.
And I was
And we're not going backwards, guys. We're not going to
Yeah,
go
my-
back to what our prices were 4 years ago.
That's
so
right.
so
Where
400
was
Not
that?
happening.
Can you tell us the location in regards to the town of where you had 30 offers
Yeah,
on
that
one
was in
home?
St. Charles.
Okay.
It's happening.
What
all
is the
over.
median cost of a house these days?
Gosh,
If
where
you had to
at?
Because I remember
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Where-
I would say 6 years ago, the median house of a St. Charles house was about $160,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Net anymore.
No, you're in the
The
twos.
prices, like she said, they're
Yeah.
never
And
they're never
median-
going to go to
And
that.
median actually sounds way lower than what most of us are dealing with too. Like St. Louis, I remember for the longest time was 168. And I'm like, where can I find a house for 168,000? But it was the median price. I'm saying you're probably in the twos. Our median price used to always be what we sold, and we covered predominantly St. Charles and kind of the west corridor. Used to be like 280, and now it's probably 380.
Yeah. I would love to talk.
Is that typical Midwest? You think Midwest, South?
Midwest
or
is
Texas?
affordable.
Is Texas still blowing up? Florida?
Texas, Florida for sure. Boulder.
I would love to talk to your husband. I know we're gonna get him on the show.
You got to stop that.
In the meantime,
I can't. I'm sorry.
Don't bring up
Vic.
something we can't talk about.
I can't talk about. I have
Depends
to,
on what
Vic,
your
because it's in my
question is.
head.
You can yell a question
Kathy,
at him. You can yell a question at him.
I never understood.
Kathy gave permission.
Like I told you, like told you last time. I just would love to know how, because I can't. Put you on the hot seat. When you look at the Zillow, it never said average mortgage or the mortgage $3,500. I can't figure out those people that can afford that on a month-to-month basis. I literally can't.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with the
Makes
mortgage
sense.
industry right now. Is that how can someone working even at GM? Can you look at that and go, yeah, that's a nut I can bite off on?
Yeah, we were talking about this last week, hon, because he's baffled by who can afford any of these houses
Does that make
that
sense?
he sees on Zillow when it says what your mortgage is, and that's usually with like no money down, right? When you see on Zillow, it's kind of like taking, is it 20% down on that? Okay, so
I'm just letting him. I want him to room. I want him to
stand here.
No, don't worry about. He's like, man, I'm here for the coffee. But just ruminate on that one.
All
And
right,
I would,
you think about that.
yeah, just think about that one
Hey,
for
Kathy?
a second.
Yes.
when somebody, speaking of people that get multiple orders or multiple offers,
Yes.
when you list a home and you get multiple offers, and this is happening so often,
Mm-hmm.
how does a person know which offer to take? Let's say they're all similar, but some of them have different contingencies. Some of them have lower prices. When you're looking at 10 different offers, what is the best one?
Great question. So going back to a little self-plugging here, another reason why it's important not just to have a realtor, but who you choose as a realtor is that exact situation. There's times, many times, that I've had 30 to 45 offers in hand. And I literally, and our team, I teach them this way, we sit every single one down. We comb through every single one and we look at all of the terms. The price is not always
and nor
best
is
term.
cash. People on the comment line
No.
are saying if they have cash, but cash really doesn't mean anything
And
because
now
you're
there's
going to
cash
get your money.
offer programs where you can not even have cash, but you can have
Exactly.
the lender guarantee your cash. So that's becoming less of a thing, although the finance contingency is something. But my point is, I can tell you on the other side, when we're presenting offers to other agents that aren't really necessarily full service agents, so the discount type people, they are running with so many properties at a time because you have to sell so many to make just a little bit of money off of each one, that my experience from a lot of other realtors is that they don't have the time to sit down and do that with each and every offer that comes in. So it's kind of like, oh, here's a good one. It feels like that way. So, and I can assure you that that is not the best for you. You need somebody that knows how to filter through all of the offers, all of the terms, because what seems like the best offer sometimes has holes in it that will end up not even being an offer later.
That's right.
And you chased everybody off. And now you're in a different position of bargaining because you're going back to the buyer going, please come back, instead of I write the rules.
And you're having pre-approvals, approvals. There's so many different things.
There's so much that goes into sifting through those and deciding who's the top 5, who's the top 3. Then there's conversations that are going back and forth with the agents. A lot of times we're even pre-negotiating some of these before we've picked them. So we're like, hey, listen, you're in the top 10. Do you want to change any of your terms? And they're like, what do you do? What do I do? Well, you might want to think about this, this, and this. So then they'll actually change their offers before we even have to respond to anybody.
Yeah.
So now we're fine-tuning offers and making them better before we even have to pick one.
Let me ask you this. Millennials, Gen Z, they're finally wanting to get out of their parents' basement. Okay. Let's say I'm a Gen Zer and I have a mediocre job. I'm a job, but I'm a young person. These housing prices are so expensive. They come to you and they say, I don't want to rent. I would like to buy a house. Do you look at them with a cockeyed eye like, well, you don't have the money, you don't have the equity?
Not at all.
What is your suggestion to them I'm asking for a friend.
My number one suggestion and the biggest hang up that gets in the way of millennial buyers is listening to their parents.
I knew it. I knew it.
That
Yep,
makes
exactly.
sense.
Do not. I'm sorry, parents out there. Some of you maybe know what you're talking about, but a lot of people that are coaching these younger buyers
Mhm.
have not been in this type of market.
Okay.
So that coaching sometimes is actually
Mhm.
hanging your children up from getting the house that they want to get into
Mhm.
and from, letting them move on with their life. So I remember we had some people like in the last 2 years, and their mom was coaching them to make the offer and put in the offer that they paint the whole interior because they didn't like that it was yellow.
Yeah.
And like all these other things, and we're literally like cringing, like, don't do that. Like there's 23 other offers coming in.
Yeah.
You can't write those type of things in. But the mom was like, well, back when we bought our house, we blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So to me, like, guys, you've got to hire somebody that you can put your total trust into.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that's the problem, is a lot of people don't trust their realtor. They feel like they're just trying to make a commission. And then you're working with the wrong person then, because if you don't put your trust in the realtor, we're listening to what you're needing, and you're trying to buy a house, and buying a house does not necessarily mean you don't have to do a few things that benefit the seller if
Right.
you're in this type of market.
And you probably come across a lot of people who may not trust their realtor because they don't want to believe what they're hearing.
Correct.
That you might
That's
be
right.
telling them the truth about their home.
Right.
Because there are some homes, and I know I've come across this with my family having real estate, where there's nothing you can do to it to improve the price.
Right.
And people don't want to believe these
Right.
things.
And I'll get oftentimes, well, who are you representing?
Right.
And really, I'm representing you because sometimes I have to tell you you're wrong, or your thinking is not going to get you to the end game that you're trying to get to. So we need to be able to have that trust between us, that I can have candid conversations with you and say, I get what you're trying to do, and I'm going to try to help you get there. However, to get there, we may have to do X, Y, and Z. And that may feel like I'm trying to get you to do something that the seller is needing. But if you don't get into the seller's mind or stand in their shoes, sometimes you're not going to get the end game that you want.
Okay.
Well, Kathy, as we get ready to let you go, does that mean next week you're going to drop the bomb on Eric and his barn dominium drink?
No, I'm done with that.
I'm
done with
well,
that.
no,
It sounds like we're
you
dropping
blew
the
this up
bombs
for
on
3
mortgage.
weeks.
If I do it, I'll do it by myself, and you won't even know I'm doing it.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God.
You won't even know I'm doing it.
He'll just
Next
have a
week,
barn
I want to
dominium.
talk about new construction, because that
Yes.
we'll leave that as a cliffhanger. That is a hotbed, and that is something that consumers do not understand one iota what you're doing to yourself.
Well, they don't want to wait.
They don't want to wait, but they also don't realize if you don't connect with your realtor way early first, before you ever walk onto the property of a new construction, you can be blocked from using your realtor in the sale.
Damn, I got a question. If you want to go
We got a
there
lot
real
to talk
fast,
about there.
I saw something in Vegas. It was I don't know if you know anything about this, but it was basically a company that folds up houses, prefab houses. Do you ever see those? And they put them into Chinese containers and they ship them out to a plot of land
That's
somewhere.
awesome.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I can
It basically
imagine.
looks like a Lego that
Yeah.
they just kind of unfold.
It
Uh-huh.
sounds like an IKEA house.
Yes.
It does sound like that.
Would you ever recommend something like that? Or are we like, nope.
I mean, not
I'm
in
out.
Tornado Alley here.
Not in
No,
Tornado
That's
Alley.
true.
If you're living somewhere else in the United States.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
put it in the Lake of the
And
Ozarks.
one final question. I just looked down. I saw a comment.
Sure.
Well, don't you have to disclose that you're a dual agent? Did that have something to do with
So
what?
you do. So if you are, that's probably earlier on when I was saying, if you sell it yourself on pocket listings. So yes, you do have to disclose that you're a dual agent. But I can tell you there are a lot of people that are thinking, well, if I use the same agent, then that means
Mhm.
less commission, and that's going to trickle down to me. So people don't care about using a dual agent in some cases.
Wow.
But you do have to buyer beware or seller beware, because that is a different type of representation. It can be tricky. It can also work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. If you're dealing with ethical agents, it can be fine.
Gotcha.
All right.
And ethical buyers and sellers.
There we go. We appreciate it. Kathy Helbig Strict, 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. Once again, 314-276-SOLD. If you have any real estate questions, you go To the queen of real estate, Kathy
Find us
Helbig,
online, too,
Experience
yeah.
Real Estate Partners. Steve in studio. Maybe one of these days we'll catch up with Steve. I know you
We
have
are.
Voice.
you
No,
have
we
several
are.
ventures going on in your life. Eric's going to want to talk to you. We learn a lot every week. We appreciate you partnering with Cancel This. And once again, if anybody has any questions, don't do it yourself. Call Kathy and her team. Kathy, thanks for joining us today. And by the way,
Nice.
2 people said you look amazing on your shot over there.
Aw, well,
Always.
thank you. Thank you.
So that it's a combination
Got
of
my Valentine's
I know, it's
red on,
crazy.
literally.
You look really good in red.
You're the only
Thank you.
person I know that looks the same as your headshot. I'm like literally looking right above you. It's like it's crazy.
That is a great
Never
point.
to me. It's never happened that way.
Me either.
I banned the
That's funny.
real estate glamour shot. So you have to so bad.
Kathy, thanks again for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
Have an awesome day. Always good to catch up with Kathy. That's for sure. This is Cancel This at cancelthisshow.com. You can catch all of our original content, of course, on our website. You go there, all of the episodes with Kathy as well. You can catch them at cancelthisshow.com. And all you have to do is look at her. She's in every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Time. And of course, if you have questions, throw them on the comment line. I'm sure she'll get in there and check.
That was
as well.
Chiefs Red, by the way, wasn't it?
It was also
Go Chiefs!
Chiefs Red. Here Central Time, 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. By the way, coming up tomorrow too, as we talk about people who have sponsored with the show and advertised and joined up with us. Al James with Pixie Dust Seasonings coming in tomorrow too. Can't wait to talk to Al. We've got some amazing seasonings that he's been working on for over 22 years.
Is he going to bring his hot plate
What's a hot plate?
and cook us some steaks or some?
Where's he
other
going to
things?
cook it? What, in our kitchen?
Right there on the
no,
the
Tabitha,
desk.
Tabitha. I would never want to go on tour with you. You're the girl that would put the fish in the microwave on the tour
Oh,
bus.
I cook every day.
You know what I'm talking about, Scotty? Scotty, you know
No.
what I'm talking about. The
No, no,
the
no,
roadie
no,
that
no.
brings the fish and they put
People
it in the
used to do
microwave.
that in the newsroom
would
as well.
never-
That's not a good thing.
No, that's
That would-
gross.
It's
A,
only ramen or
no.
nothing. It's
I don't
ramen
use,
or nothing.
I don't really use microwaves, and
Yeah.
and B,
You don't-
I can cook as good as a chef at a restaurant.
You do not
I
put a
don't need a
hot
microwave.
plate in a
I
small
believe
room
you.
like this. You just don't.
I believe
do
you.
it.
I
bet you
cook
do.
every single day.
No,
Okay.
I guarantee you do.
But
All right.
I want to add something before we move on too far. I love talking to Kathy. Real estate is such an interesting topic to me because my family, we invest in real estate. We're always buying or selling something, and so many things she talks about are so important to buyers and sellers.
No, they do. That's why we bring her on. We're glad that she's
Real
partnered
estate-
with us.
Real estate is kind of like the music industry. It's changed to where it's almost unrecognizable to people that used to use real estate way back in the day.
And it continues.
It's-
It continues to change. Years ago, I actually had my real estate license, not because I
You
wanted
still
to.
do.
Well, not because I wanted to sell real estate, but because of my family's business in real estate. I wanted to make sure I knew what was going on so that I could manage those properties or know what was going
Interesting.
on.
I didn't know that.
And Al James tomorrow, if you guys don't already know, Al James is a fantastic cook.
Yeah,
And
he
if you
is.
go to his Facebook page, you will see the photos of all of his beautiful dishes.
Yeah, his
that he
seasoning's
uses-
starting to blow
yes.
up. He was on I think it was Channel 5 in the St. Louis area a couple weeks ago. So he's going to be jumping in. And by the way, Eric, you've been begging as we do little housekeeping business here for a Democrat/liberal, somebody to come into studio to talk about issues that
Yeah.
don't sound like you. Next Tuesday, you won't want to miss this. Central Time, next Tuesday, 9:00. We have a St. Louis area rapper. I think it's T Dubbo.
Okay.
T Dubbo's coming in, and we've got a list of topics to talk about. I don't know how long it's going to go, but it's going to be fantastic.
I would say go to 2 hours.
He completely disagrees with everything that we say.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
And this comes to what's happening in the inner city, police, policing issues.
he thinks it's good. You got to start there.
No.
So he doesn't think
Oh,
it's
well,
good.
we'll see. You're gonna.
No, you got to
you're gonna have a
start there.
chance.
You got to go high level and then you work down into the minutia with a liberal.
That's going to be amazing. Monday, we're going to talk with the Ethical Society of Police about state takeovers. I know we have listeners all over the country, but in St.
That's
Louis.
outstanding.
So this is the president of the all-black police group, the all-black police group in St. Louis. They're for a state takeover. They want a state takeover in the city of St. Louis. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. You cannot have a feud between your mayor and the police. You can't do it. You have got, if it happens, you have one day to resolve it. Otherwise, the state comes in and they fix the glitch, as they say. That's all there is to it. There are certain jobs I can't wait. Good job, Vic.
What-
There are certain jobs in government that if you cannot resolve the problem within 24 hours, you fix the glitch. You get somebody in there that can fix the problem. Policing is one of those problems. Potholes would be another one of those problems, I would think. Trash services, that'd be another one of those
Well,
problems.
I mean, and a lot of it, when it comes to police, it's about safety.
Yeah, it's true,
And,
true.
and then it comes with, I mean, Smart News out with a poll this morning saying that the number one dangerous city to tour
Here we go.
in America, it's St. Louis.
Boom. Now for
And yes, Eric, St. Louis is a
Is it?
city that you would consider for tourism because you've got the Gateway Arch. They redid all of that. You've got Anheuser-Busch. I mean, I know there are things that you may have thought about in the past. We have one of the country's best zoos.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Forest
And in the
Park.
summer, Cardinals, there's a lot of money that
Yeah.
comes into St. Louis via tourism. So the last place you want to be is last in safety.
Is Tashara, she and Kim Gardner. They really have just
So
you know what?
anyway.
And Lyda Cruisen before them both.
But
So,
There's no answer when it comes
it
to the
just-
city.
it's-
I mean, there's
it's
no
sad.
answer.
just reminding people. So Al, tomorrow we've also Friday's another big show too. We've got Ty Dennis with Clippers and Cops.
Mhm.
He's got an event coming up in the city. He's trying to do what he can. The former gang director unit in Atlanta, retired, came back, run security for the Rockwood School District in the state of Missouri, the largest school district. He's trying to do what he can to bring younger people together with police to try to bring that divide a little bit closer to have communication. And then we're going to have an interview on our Free for All Paranormal Friday with George Norrie. That will be playing Friday morning. So big week still ahead. It's only Wednesday. Letting you know about things that are coming up as well. Also, guys, March 1st, we are scheduled to talk with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse going through some legal stuff right now as well, but he's been busy. He knows about our show, so we set it up for March 1st. So as we get the guest, we'll let you know about everybody that's coming up. That's for sure. We're keeping busy here, and guests are still wanting to jump in and join. And by
know
the
what's
way,
so
the
weird
governor said he had a blast yesterday on the show too.
Kyle Rittenhouse, and what was the other kid that he sued CNN for like $87 million?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Sandman.
Yeah.
What was
And
his name?
one.
I think his name was Nick Sandman.
Yeah, it's Nick Salmon.
It's almost like it could become a cottage industry to get canceled and then sue whoever's canceling you, because Rittenhouse is going through. He could write a book. He could go do speaking events for the next.
But
He
the-
could be a guest at the Republican convention right
The
now.
reason why, though, they have a lawsuit is because the media lied about what they did. They
Yeah.
portrayed them in a way that was not consistent with
Correct.
the facts.
Yeah, it's almost like it's winning the lottery in some ways. You got to go through.
Oh,
a
I
little,
don't know about that.
You got to go through a little bit of pain, a lot of pain, but at the end of that pain, you get to write a book and you get to be the face of whatever that is. So this Rittenhouse kid is the face of protecting yourself with a weapon.
I wouldn't want to be him. I wouldn't want to be him. You know why? It doesn't matter how much money he may get or Nick Salmon. They have a target on their heads
For life.
for life. And, I can't imagine they ever will have a moment where they can relax. They're always going to be on a swivel. Just like, Darren from from Ferguson, from the
Darren Wilson.
Darren
Yeah.
Wilson, sorry, for Darren Wilson. He did no wrong. He was completely in the right. The Justice Department agreed. But guess what? He has his head on a swivel 24/7.
I'd like to talk
It's
to him
interesting
too.
you bring that up too, because Cory Bush's guest last night at the State of the Union address was none other than Michael Brown Sr. And I did interviews with Michael Brown Sr. and as recent as 3 years ago. And I flat out asked him, because this is when he was upset at St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, who ran and was elected and pulled off a major upset in St. Louis for the St. Louis County position on the fact that he would reopen the Michael Brown case. Well, everybody just assumed, if he reopens a case, that means there's going to be charges brought against Darren Wilson. Well, he reopened the case, and I'm telling you, Wesley's thorough. When he goes through a case, he couldn't charge him.
Oh,
And then he was ripped. So Michael Brown Sr. and his group came out and protested, and that was fine. And I asked Michael Brown Sr., I was like, so you're telling me the Obama Justice Department got it wrong? And he said, hell yes.
yeah.
And I
So-
will never believe that. But I met Michael
he
Brown
was there
Sr.
last night.
at work. We did security for a couple of events he was invited to.
Really?
hmm
Well,
But he sued Black Lives Matter
yeah. Everything
For
that-
what?
for capitalizing on his son's death.
Yeah, you're copyrighted
For
man.
making $20 million on his son's death.
Okay. Well, you know what? it's a business, as they say.
Black Lives Matter is a business.
It's a business, and this entire business has been formulated and capped on a lie. The entire Ferguson thing was a lie. And so I wish it wasn't a lie. I wish that that we were talking about this and we could actually support what happened in Ferguson, but it was a lie. It was a criminal that stuck his head into a police cruiser, tried to kill said policeman, and got axed himself, or he got deceased himself. That's the truth. You don't need to put a memorial on the street. You don't need to put a whole movement behind it. This whole thing's based on a lie. Cori Bush brought on our dime a person who is very famous from perpetuating this lie, which then stemmed Black Lives Matter, which then stemmed Ferguson being a tourist destination in the middle of the country. This is the Mecca of BLM. It's a lie. It's a shame.
Well, there was another big story happened last night too when it comes to, quote, you draw your lines in the sand and you know who you are. You know who people are and where this country is going. Well, case in point, a education board member got booted last night in the state of Virginia because she was defending the Constitution, speaking out against socialism, stating that you can't compare socialism with capitalism. This is a woman of Indian descent. She is a Republican. She was put on the board by Governor Youngkin, who brought in and was expecting her to go through, but she was championing traditional American values. And what do you think happened to her last night? It was on party lines. The Democrats voted her out.
I would love to know how that works.
Well, it works where if you have more of your kind in office and in positions, you have the power to take somebody out. She said, quote, after being voted out, she said her whole premise was socialism is incompatible with democracy.
It is.
And
There's no doubt
because
about
she
it.
said that, her Democratic counterparts voted her off the board, the state board of education. These are issues that think about this. I mean, we get so many headlines, things going one ear out the other. Okay. But think about what you're actually doing. You have Democratic school board members saying, nope, we disagree with you saying that socialism is incompatible with democracy. Her quote last night after being voted out was, quote, I thought people celebrated diversity. And she's an Indian woman as well. Her name is Suparna Dutta. She said, whether it's diversity of thought, diversity of viewpoint, or diversity of any of the many characteristics.
Yeah.
She's like, and I'd never heard this word, I'm flummoxed.
Flummoxed.
I have heard that word.
Flummoxed.
Flummoxed, I've never even heard it.
Yes. It's like flabbergasted.
Flabbergasted, exactly.
In shock, in awe.
So she could not believe that happened. So she was basically set to be confirmed by the state of Virginia last night, along with a host of other appointees, until her Democratic counterpart said they disagreed with her views on socialism.
Socialism, communism.
I mean,
we're not a democracy anyway, but socialism and communism absolutely have no place in our society.
Yet the Democrats, the Senate Democrats in the state of Virginia, which was the battleground for parents and school systems, as you remember, when Governor Youngkin pulled off an upset victory, when parents said, we're not going to take it anymore with what's happening with our kids and in the schools. And then Democrats still holding state Senate seats. That's why voting is so important at every single level, at every single town, whether
That's
it's
right.
a representative, specifically your state senators in the states. The whole issue we were just talking about when it comes to state takeover of, quote, let's say St. Louis by police department, guess who holds the keys to that? The state senators.
That's right.
That's why when you think, oh, that position may not be that important, they're all important.
They are all important. And this is how Democrats have risen to where they are, because they saw the value in these lower level positions. School boards, a lot of these folks in the Democrat Party who are socialists, they started out on school boards and they made their way up. Local elections are so incredibly important. And if we want to fight back, we have to get in at the school board level and we have to make our way up.
I did.
Yeah,
well, you went to a school board meeting.
Yeah, he went to a school board
I'm talking
meeting.
about people who are elected to the school board, or people who are elected as mayor or elected as alderman. You have to start in these positions and work your way up, because that's how they're beating us.
You know what? Republicans are really damn good at talking. Democrats are really good at executing.
They are good at
That's a bumper sticker.
You know why?
That's a bumper sticker. They're really good at sitting in delis.
No, they're really good at cheating.
Hold on.
That's the difference.
The Republicans are really good at sitting in delis and talking about how this country is going down the tubes. The Democrats are really good at making this country go down the tubes. There's no way that socialism works in a country that has the words liberty in its constitution or in its Bill of Rights or any document. So you have to sit back. And at some point, I have been wrong on so many things in this show. It's unbelievable. I thought the backlash was going to be real. It wasn't. I thought the red wave was going to be a deal. It's not.
There has been backlash.
There is, Eric. You know what?
No, because I think
I almost feel the opposite. I think you were right.
I think you were right, Eric.
I think you were right, because you know what? You may not see it. I see things changing. I see things changing. We have Kevin McCarthy as our speaker, got Pelosi out. We did have a red wave. I call it a pink puddle. But you know what? Andrew Polachek, who joined us from Missouri Canvas, pointed out a very good point. They cheated. You know, we're not winning. Conservatives aren't winning because we're not willing to fight fire with fire. We're not willing to go to the levels that they're willing to go to. Yeah. It's just a fact that we are very complacent, and we have to stop being complacent. But I see small victories. We had these 20 that stood up whenever they did the speaker vote. They stood up and fought for the Freedom Caucus. And you know what? And they won. And all these little battles are going to add up. We are seeing backlash. We are seeing victories.
Eric, give yourself more credit. I'm not kidding.
Yes, I agree.
No. I because I've had a chance to analyze this stuff, and I thought that, Governor Newsom was going to be kicked out because he's so incompetent. Obviously, that didn't happen. I thought that the red wave was going to happen, that the Senate would have won 5 seats. That didn't happen. I thought that we wouldn't be in a majority in the House of Representatives by 5 seats. I thought it would be 35 seats. That didn't happen. I thought that parents would go to these school board meetings and just start picking them off one after another. We're going to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic. We're not going to bring transgender studies in here. We're not going to talk about CRT. This is over.
Eric, they are doing that.
Disney and all the corporations, I thought, were going to capitulate to the masses. That didn't happen. Hold on.
They are. They brought Bob Iger back.
Okay. What I think it's not a bipartisan thing. I'm sorry, a partisan thing. I think there's a group of people who are getting away with lying to the masses, the Democrats. I think last night is a great example. State of the Union, you just saw lie after lie after omission after lie after omission.
And who's going to call Biden out for the lies except for us?
And then you got the other side who has the truth on their side. Like, if you want inflation to go down, you fix the economy in certain ways that are time tested. You don't destroy us by putting us in $40 trillion into debt. So you have one group, in the way that I see it anyway, Tab, one group who has kind of the truth on their side, and one group who lies to change the country to what they want it to be. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but like Vic said, you need to give a little more credit to yourself, because we are seeing backlash. We are seeing small victories. It takes time.
I take your word for it.
It takes time. And you know what it takes?
Generations sometimes.
Sometimes it does take generations. But if we want things to happen faster, guess what we have to do? We have to start not being complacent. We have to get off our lazy behinds and get to the polls and work the polls. We have to make sure they can't cheat. We have to make things so difficult for them that they cannot get away with it.
In our own backyard. St. Louis, Missouri. We're about to talk about how St. Louis is the #1 deadliest city for tourism. Okay.
But there's cities all across the country.
If you're
going to
do that, then you can fix it. But yet there's a group of people in St. Louis proper and in a lot of urban areas across the country who it seems like if you just laid the facts out in front of them, they'd be able to fix their problems, and they can't. And that's kind of frustrating for people like me, who's like, okay, we gave it a shot. Seems like St. Louis is dead.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. We have to change things. We have to change things. We have to stop being complacent. We have to get out there and make change happen. we have no way around it. You know what? If you don't like crime in the city, carry your gun. Make sure that you.
Well, then that makes you the criminal.
No, it doesn't.
It sure
no,
does.
because you have the right.
Come on now.
You have the right to defend yourself. If you live in
on
St.
paper,
Louis City,
on
guess
paper,
what?
on paper.
Make sure you have a weapon. Make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you know self-defense, because you are your own police.
And
Take
you
care of
fire that
yourself.
at somebody, and we had a guest on right there that fired at someone stealing his truck in his
But
garage,
that's a
and he
different
went
story.
to jail.
I understand
That's not
that.
a different
it was
story.
Wrong.
That's not a different
it was
story.
Wrong, but that was a gray area.
No, that was
because
a very
you-
black and white area because,
in my opinion,
because what you're
yes.
telling people to do is to carry a weapon and in the heat of the moment, take it out and protect yourself.
Yes.
He thought he was protecting himself.
Yes, he did. And he was protecting
You
himself.
see what I'm saying?
I do.
And so if I took
What
your
happened
advice,
to
if I
what
took
happened
your
to Chuck was wrong.
if I took your advice and someone smashed in my back window as I'm going to the pageant to see a rock concert, and I think that my life's in danger, I take out my Glock, whatever, and I point it in the back seat and take out the perp, I'm all of a sudden
Would
in
you
jeopardy
rather
of
be
now going
dead?
to prison.
Would you rather be dead?
No, I'd rather just not go to St. Louis.
Then don't. That's
Yeah,
your
you-
prerogative.
See what I'm saying?
You don't have to go to St. Louis.
No, you don't.
That's your prerogative.
Vic
mean-
Faust, take it away.
It is. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I know. It's just as we talk about these things, I know they get ramped up in my
You
brain.
have to be able to protect yourself. And guess what? I love the police. I love the St. Louis police. But you know what? They can't be everywhere. There's only 25, 30 of them out at any given time,
Which is
because
why
they're
we're
so
gonna
short
yeah.
staffed.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to one of them on Monday. I mean,
I
we're
can't wait.
literally going to talk to an African American St. Louis police member of the Ethical Society of Police who supports the state taking it over. There's all kinds of issues that we talk about on the show, and it's one of those issues where, Eric, you have to start talking about things. And for the first time that I can ever remember, there are people speaking up, Eric. I mean, in a way where technology can be a good thing, believe it or not.
Yes, it is.
Technology can help you get your message out,
Mhm.
since mainstream media didn't for the last 20 years. Now mainstream media is dying, and I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
mean to people and friends of mine who work in those industries. I'm just, a fact's a fact. It's dying. And the people who look at the numbers see it's dying. And it's because not all the sides are represented. And I think that industry will be dead if they don't change their format and change it really quick to cover all sides of a damn story.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're dealing with issues every day. That's why I say give yourself more credit, because things don't change overnight. It didn't take overnight to put us in situations where we are now, where you can actually have elected, not selected, but elected state Senate members going after individuals who are trying to promote the Constitution, who are trying to promote capitalism over socialism.
Right.
I mean, whether Democrats realize it or not, if you vote out somebody who's for the Constitution and promotes the Constitution and promotes capitalism over socialism, that makes you a socialist, whether they say it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there to say? Nothing?
You're
No,
right.
I'm just
Oh,
saying. Yeah,
I mean,
I was waiting for
just-
the payoff pitch.
I don't know where the hell Democrats think they're going if that's the pitch.
But we don't. Do you think we have time? John
But-
Dady on the comment line said, "We don't have time. We don't have time to wait." Yes, it took them decades to get where they are now. They're going to completely destroy our country if it takes decades to fix.
But here is, well, Glenn says CNN is the canary in the coal mine. I agree. However, here's the deal too. I was with a friend of mine last night and for a birthday party, and I was talking to his parents. Known him since I was in the 4th grade. And without getting into it all, you're talking about two of the best people, best parents, raised an incredible family that I know.
Yes.
And one of them made a comment to me about going, "Oh, that person's a Republican. You got to watch out for them."
what?
And I was like, "Oh no, Mrs. Such and Such." And that's what Eric talks about when it's the old school quote Democrat. And they're out there.
Oh,
Eric,
yes.
Oh my, I told Eric the other day, I was like, "Really?"
More of those soccer moms he talks about are Democrat than they are Republican
Yeah.
these days.
And unfortunately, you try to get someone to cheer for a Cubs fan in St. Louis. If you're a St. Louis Cardinal fan, it's never going to happen. And it's a mental breakdown. And those are going to be the real true stars in saving the country, the independents, the guys that are like, man, I used to be a Democrat and this is damn ridiculous. I am not having my kids grow up in this world, but they're not there yet.
Well,
They're not
some of
there
them,
yet.
They're
not there yet.
A lot of the blue dog Democrats,
they're gone. They're not there yet.
good,
Trust me.
They're good people who fight for this country as hard as we do, but they don't have a party anymore. They've been booted out of their party.
They don't think so.
And most of
they don't think so.
Most of those folks,
they don't think they're the minority.
Some of them are. No, they are definitely the minority.
They think that Cory Bushes in their party are the unruly stepchildren of the party. That's what they think. But they think that they still have it. They don't.
The Democrat Party has changed so much. That's why I'm always saying in this country, even though we're kind of a two-party system, there's really more like 6 factions in this country. The Democrat Party is not what it used to be. The Republican Party is not what it used to be. And so people are flocking to the middle, towards independent, but independent isn't even what it is either, because there's so many people in the middle of it that call themselves independent or libertarian who really are all over the board.
Take your word for it. But
we need to wipe the slate clean. And
what you do is you have to go out and speak. Another story that happened yesterday, you had transgender people showing up at the Oklahoma State Capitol to go against Republicans who were voting on laws against transgender people in regards to legalization and other issues. And they were making their voice heard. And guess what? It wasn't a massive group, but when you show up and you make a little noise, you get coverage. The story was covered, Eric.
Yeah. Did you hear that Merrick Garland threw them all in jail and called it an insurrection?
Of
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Of course not.
What? It didn't happen?
No.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
They walked in legally. I thought they walked in.
The doors
legally.
weren't closed.
That was a legal protest. You got to go out and protest. Mm-hmm. Be polite, but protest.
I told you these are Democrats and liberals are not afraid to get out of their couch, put their chips down, and go and protest and go and demonstrate. Republicans, they want to go to their job. They want to come home. They want to watch Fox News. They want to eat their steak and potatoes, and they want to go to bed, and they want to start all over. And then that's what Republicans want to do.
But it's a double standard for us, because right now, as a matter of fact, on January 6th, I really wanted to go on January 6th to Washington, D.C. I really did, but we were doing a show. I didn't go.
You
would
have been in jail.
But
you could have walked out because you're so small. You could have walked right through the bars.
I doubt I would have went into the Capitol building.
You wouldn't have.
I don't think I would have.
I know you wouldn't have, because I don't think I would have.
I really don't think I would have.
You're one of my best friends. I know you. I spend a lot of time. There is no way in hell, which is why you and I debate about January 6th.
I don't think I personally would have.
I know you would not have.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I think that what happened to the people who did should have happened. That was simple trespassing. But the bigger question here is on January 6th, the doors were locked to the Capitol building. You know why? Because they knew conservatives were going to be there for a peaceful protest. Well, they knew these folks were going to be there for a peaceful protest yesterday, but guess what? They did not lock the Capitol doors. They welcomed them in. That's the double standard. That's the difference between conservative and liberal.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
Yeah.
Why didn't they lock the doors yesterday knowing these people were coming? Why did they lock the doors when they knew we were coming?
I don't think anybody was scared of how many transgenders were there.
Why would they be scared of us? They should be. You know what? They should treat everyone equally. Yeah. And they don't.
Well, they put a fence up around DC before last night's speech again.
Of course they did.
Didn't realize that.
Because they're scared of us.
I'm like, oh my God, they put up the fence again in DC. It's a lot of virtual signaling is what it is. To continue the J6 deal from going on, which is unfortunate, but that's how the media works. That's how the White House works. And from the Facebook guy, Drew says that's because MAGA Republicans are violent.
They are?
Yeah, they're violent.
That's why we're all in prison as insurrectionists.
What about Antifa BLM Democrats?
You're not going to get anything out of Drew. Drew's unreasonable.
I
wish he was reasonable, because I would love to have him in here and debate him, but you cannot debate someone that doesn't have at least okay, I hear your point. You have to have to debate someone. You have to go, I hear your point. I'm sure that a liberal would come in here, and if they were reasonable and thought out and schooled, I would go, That makes sense to me. Okay,
Drew
that's
can
a
come in. You can debate him.
No, it's you.
He used to make his way to my old station. He can make his way
No,
here.
He's
No.
the problem with Drew.
He was offered.
The problem with Drew is he can't. There's no. It's not.
That's all right. We were
A debate is ping pong, Tabitha. It's I hit the ball to you, you hit it back to me. The person that loses the point, the ball flies off the table. They go, okay, you won that point. I mean, you could go with defunding the police. You ping pong that one back and forth until someone wins that point.
Well, the rapper T-Dubbo, check him out. Look him up. Check him out. You can go like him stuff if you want. But when he comes in, that's going to be, I'm just telling you, it's going to be a very raw debate, real issues talked. This ain't local news stuff. This is a podcast venue where we can talk straight. We can talk real. And that's why we're going to do that. You had asked for it, Eric.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some of those issues.
Yeah.
And we'll get into some of the realisms where you can actually talk black and white and hopefully talk with some sense. And especially from somebody.
Most rounded liberals will say, this defund the police thing is garbage. Most liberals will say, no, this is the dumbest idea ever. But they'll put that little however in there.
That's why we have to
They'll
differentiate.
put the however in there. And I go, well, you just lost the point, first of all. Get that off the table.
It's progressive liberals who
See
want
what
to
I mean?
defund the police. Typical liberals normally don't.
Right.
But progressive liberals are the one, they're the tiny fraction to the very far left, the fringe far left, the 2%ers. And those folks are the ones who want to defund police, disband police. They're the ones who want to bring socialism in. And they are the minority, the minute minority. But guess what? The current regime that's in the White House is making all the rules for those 2%ers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, corporate. I mean, I can't wait. Thank you, Vic, for that. It's a nice little birthday present for me. I'll take that.
When's your birthday?
Don't worry about that. But
When
it's in the area. Don't worry about it. But no,
don't worry about
I'm
what.
definitely not.
Have to look it up now.
But it's cool. And I would like to have someone from all these. I would love to maybe get, if you are listening to the show on Facebook or Rumble or whatever it is, man, give us your damn number. If you're like, man, I live in Sarasota, Florida. I'm a damn liberal and I want the country to be socialist. And I got some good points. Please do not be afraid to text in, to call in, because I think we would all like to talk to you. And I'm sitting here giving you permission to change my mind. I am not closed-minded. I am not.
The whole aspect about talking, if you want to call it debating, that's fine. Having a conversation is maybe, just maybe, you may learn something about another viewpoint, right?
Yep.
And you can have a mature conversation. That's the problem. People don't listen anymore. I mean, I shouldn't say a generalization, but there are too many times where people don't actually listen. I mean, listen first before just waiting for the person to stop talking so you can get your point out. Listen, just see where they're coming from, because everybody comes from a different point. Everybody has a different perspective, a different reason. I understand why the parents who were like Leave It to Beaver parents, the best parents ever, I get why, even though they didn't tell me that, they were ripping somebody, saying, "Oh, that's a Republican," because they're old, like very, very old, like near 80 old, and that's how they always voted.
My grandmother, believe it or not, my very own grandmother was a diehard Democrat, hated Trump. She hated Trump, and she loved Hillary Clinton.
Oh my!
And you know what she did? She sat around and watched MSNBC and CNN all the time. And I would come over and I would switch the channels to Fox. And but you know what? It goes to show, when you sit around, you watch CNN and MSNBC and you believe what they say, it will brainwash you.
Yep.
The
human brain.
I saw it happen.
The human brain is a computer. What goes in comes out. Period. Discussion over.
So Eric's birthday is February 17th.
Who the hell?
Keep that date in mind.
How'd you find that already?
I asked someone very close to Eric.
Oh, okay.
That's the same date as my stepsister's birthday.
So there we go. February 17th.
Yeah, I was born on President's Day, so remember that.
But we won't bring in Fireball because of what we talked about before.
Because it's poison.
Tabitha told us it's poison.
Yeah, Fireball is not going to do anything.
From a story that we read online.
But our lounge is going to be ready soon. And we'll have a little Eric party.
Yeah, the little lounge, and special thanks for yet another company joining with us, Carroll House. So grateful to Carroll House Furniture.
Yes.
You'll hear more of them
Because we like nice things.
because
We sure do.
we like nice things, and the companies that we do focus on and bring in, they're partnering with us. They like what we're doing. They see that you guys are a massive audience. They feel that it's an opportunity for them to grow their brand as well as we do, and that's how the whole thing works. So grateful to Brooke Dubman and Carroll
Yes.
House for joining with us, and Tabitha's all excited about a lounge. I don't
I
know. I don't know
am.
where you think.
And
the
I want to
lounge is.
remind everyone that if you go to our webpage, canceltheshow.com, there are various packages you can choose to sponsor the show. And guess what? Some of those packages include not only a tour of our facility at Strategic Air Services, but it includes a sit down in our Carroll House Lounge where people can come in and
you don't
actually
wanna
watch the show out there where Scotty is.
Yeah, but you don't want to oversell it. I don't know about the lounge. I mean, we gotta.
I like the way it sounds.
It sounds
cool.
really nice, doesn't
Carroll
it?
House Lounge. It's going to be beautiful.
What makes it a lounge? A couch and a bar?
Yeah, that's a lounge. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
but
that's a
we're-
lounge.
Yes, but we're also going to have all kind Defender's going to be out there.
Okay, let's
Joust.
we'll see.
It's going to be a work
And-
in progress.
And by the way, if anybody wants to jump in on our
Shuffleboard.
show ever, the shuffleboard would work against that
I
table,
have
that
an-
wall
Right.
over there.
I have an air hockey table. I'll bring it
Oh
in.
my
Air
gosh.
hockey. Yeah. Stripper pole.
If anybody wants to jump in the show and video link with us and to talk, I mean, you're always welcome. Once again, we run the text line at the bottom of the screen, the phone number there. You text that. Scotty, get you on with us if you want to talk, if you want to join the show. Some people have jumped in and done that. We appreciate getting a chance to talk with you guys and anybody else regarding coming in and talking about whatever you want to do. That's another good cornhole.
And
Cornhole.
Cornhole would be an
Cornhole?
easy one to set up in
You
here.
know what? Maybe Kevin and Steve from Strategic Air Services will let us have a bubble hockey game. That would fit
I don't know what
perfectly out
that
there.
is, Scotty, but I would really.
Bubble
I heard
hockey.
there's one in
I
the
think
building.
you need
I
bubble
haven't seen
hockey at
it.
your show on
There's
Saturday
a bubble
night.
hockey game in
Well,
this.
it might be a myth.
I'm thinking
Someone
beer
told me
pong.
there is.
Beer pong. Yes,
I think it's
MDZ.
a myth.
Beer
The-
pong.
The MDZ beer pong set brought to you by whoever wants to sponsor it, I guess.
Yeah.
Furniture, because you like nice.
Because you like nice things. Exactly.
Okay, do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you.
Okay,
fine.
I went out for a second.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
It happens
Where'd
to
you
me every
go?
day.
Yeah, well, I don't know. My sound disappeared
Yeah.
for a second. But anyway, it's back. So I'm grateful for that. Also, when we talk about these stories that are coming up, if you guys have ideas and story ideas, and I appreciate it because I'm getting some, let us know. Message us however you can so that we can cover the stories that you want to cover and people that you think we should be covering or talking about when it comes to anything in life, because there's something that's happening on a daily basis. And we always, and I repeat, always are trying to bring you the best interviews that we can. I always tell Tabitha, like, Tabitha, what story? Because there's always so much that we're leaving out all the time. If there's a story, Tabitha.
Oh,
that
there's
we-
something I would very much like to talk
that
about.
and this is, it's every day I try to say, it's like, and we got to get it sponsored, like Tab's Take or something, or Tab's Throwdown, something of that nature, something that has you riled up today, fired up about. What do people need to know about today, Tabitha?
Today, you know what? I want to refer back to a poll that someone sent to me. And I can't say I was shocked by this, but this was a Twitter poll. And the username was Iraq Veteran 8888. And there were 100,000 votes.
That's a lot of votes.
As of yesterday, there's almost double that today. And guess what? The question was, do you think the United States military would fire on their own people if ordered to do so? Guess what? 76% said yes. And
I don't buy that.
you don't think so.
No.
So you're going to vote no. 24% said no.
So
Think-
25.
But think, yes, now it's 25.
I pushed it over the edge.
But think about the people that are voting are probably veterans because they're all subscribed to Iraq Veteran 8888. The way I feel
Do you
about
believe
it,
that?
yes, I do.
Really?
And the reason why I believe that is I do believe that while I absolutely believe and I love our military and I believe that our military are overwhelmingly us, they're part of us. I do believe most of them are conservative. I also think if put in the right situation and they are told you have to fire on these protesters or or whatever. I really think they might do it. I don't know that they would do it for any lengthy time, but I think they would. I think they would feel like they
So
had
Scott,
to.
you don't think they would?
I think a lot of them would drop their guns or start walking towards us to join the other way. I don't see
I think that would eventually happen.
It only takes one.
It does.
And to follow the orders. Here's the thing.
I mean,
I'm not surprised.
That's a tough question.
I'm not surprised by
It
the
is a
polling
tough
because
question.
the people that follow this guy clearly are like-minded. So like-minded people
But they're also veterans.
But what would they shoot at
and
us
veterans.
for? What would they shoot at us
Well,
for?
We don't know.
Freedom of speech?
Hey, let's,
We don't know. They didn't put out any scenario.
here's an example.
I don't
I'll
know.
give you a scenario.
Okay.
January 6th situation, whether you agree, disagree, what happened, if that were to occur again, and you have to, quote, follow orders, 100% I could see it happening. I could totally see it happening.
Look at the police
I
in
agree
Washington,
with-
D.C.
I'm
I
glad it
agree
didn't,
with
because
Tabitha on this.
That would have been
and
that would have started everything. There would have been an absolute
may start-
definitive split, and it would have started. I think we would have seen a civil war at that
Yeah.
point.
and
in
it
my
may,
opinion.
and we may see that. And I don't want to go all Tabitha, but
Hey, no.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean, it
usually
could
right.
happen.
it could
It
be,
happens all over the world all the time.
It does
because
happen all
you
over the
see it
world.
all over the world. Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
why are we any different? We're not.
DC Capitol Police, Lizzie, I see you. I hear you coming strong on our comment line. 100%, I could see
Look
it
at the
happening.
Branch Davidians. Look at
That-
IRS
you're right.
agents are already
It's already
set up.
happened,
Just
Eric.
because they're not from an airborne division doesn't mean it doesn't happen every single day. But that being said, I guess what Scotty's saying is if you see some kind of paratroopers coming into a community to take over a rowdy conservative MAGA community, yeah, I think he's right. I think
You're
that-
right. You know
well,
what?
I don't
He's
know.
right.
I hope I'm
I
not
think-
right. That's
no,
a
you-
kind of a bizarre
Actually, you just-
dimension that we
you
live
just-
in now. But
You made a great point. Look at what happened at the Bundy Ranch. Look what happened. Remember that Malheur Reserve, whenever they took over that park, they did that occupation of a ranch because they were trying to take
the cattle or
in
something like
Ruby
that.
Ridge. Look at
Yeah.
all of these different situations in which the government has already shot and killed Americans for protecting their own property.
Mm.
And that's what all these situations were about. The Branch Davidians, these were just preppers who were protecting their own property, who were living off the grid.
Yeah.
Glenn Thompson says, ask Ashley Babbitt,
That's right.
who lost her life on January 6th when she was
Yeah.
shot by, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this a Capitol policeman?
I thought it was Secret Service.
Okay.
I don't know. I
It
mean,
was I believe, I don't know who it was. It was somebody who was plain clothed.
Yeah.
And I don't know who it was.
I don't know.
I don't recall.
Can you write that guy's name down? Can you try to contact him and see if we can get him on to talk to him?
Sure.
He'd be an interesting guy to talk to, especially being a veteran when it comes to what made him ask that question in the first place.
I would like to know.
Usually something prompts a question like that.
And you
I
know what?
agree.
It's one of those perception is reality kind of a thing. You know what I mean? It's like if you have a poll that says 79% of the people believe that the United States military would fire on its own people. Well, that perception becomes reality to a lot of people. If that's really the numbers, I don't think it is. I think I'm right with Scotty. I don't think that everybody believes that. I do think that red-blooded Americans see the missing man fly over at the Super Bowl and they're going, yes, our military is the baddest on the planet.
We could do our own poll.
I guess you could.
I feel like
Give it a
it's
shot.
already happened numerous times. We've already had Americans shot and killed by our law enforcement, and I'm not talking about.
Oh, you're a
I'm not-
defund the blue then.
No, I love our police officers,
Uh-huh.
but there have been many situations where police officers and the FBI and other organizations look at Waco. I mean, somebody brought up Waco.
Well, that
Look
was FBI. That was not.
I
That was not
agree,
the
but
military.
look what happened. Look at the people who died
But Tabitha, I've got
to
a
protect
question.
their lands.
I was just told something privately.
yes.
Tabitha, you like to bring up issues that some people would call conspiracy theory issues, just
You
to
mean
think
truth?
which could be truth.
So it was a Democrat messaging you.
Do we know 100% for sure that Ashley Babbitt is dead?
Here we go into another. It's like a rabbit hole. I feel like I'm in Alice in Wonderland.
Is it
Well, that went in a
possible-
different direction than I was expecting it to go in.
Is it possible that she could be in a witness protection program?
with Elvis?
I don't know.
This
I don't
I
know.
knew I was going to throw you on this
I've
one
looked at the video of what happened
because
many
was there
times.
an
Many
open casket
times.
funeral for this woman?
I don't believe there was.
There
and
wasn't.
I will say her husband acted very suspiciously after this happened. It wasn't the typical, it was not what you expected.
Lizzie says no, Ashley is dead.
I do believe she
Amy's
is
like,
dead.
oh my
No, there was
God.
pictures of it.
I do.
Well,
pictures don't necessarily mean anything.
I guess you're right.
Nor does video. I personally do believe she was dead, but she was a veteran. Her husband did act very strange. I can see why people question it. I personally do think she is dead.
Why would people?
But I see why people.
Why
question
would
it.
people question this? And that's what I was getting to as my final question. Why would there be a question?
I think a lot of people think she was an operative in the way that she was there to create chaos and to get shot to cause further chaos, and that she was really hired by the government.
And I just looked at
That's
a
what a
comment.
lot of
Hey,
people
Lisa, I
believe.
wasn't trying to be rude at all. I'm sorry to offend you. I just had a comment from a listener privately that said, ask about Ashley Babbitt. Well, because we
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't offend me.
No.
Oh.
Lisa said it was rude for me to bring that up.
Oh.
And I'm not trying to offend anybody. I was asked to bring that up, which is why I did, because somebody who is a loyal listener to the show and very like-minded with you, Lisa, just said it's a question that needs to be talked about.
Right.
And it's sad. We've all lost people, maybe not like that, but not trying to be rude at all. Just to make sure.
I think that it was the way you said it at first, but you were doing that for to be funny and to be dramatic in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean it in a good way.
But when you
Yes.
think about
you
that,
didn't offend me.
I do believe she lost her life.
I would
that day.
say this. Here's the deal. The Democrats have become just recently really good at getting the other side to take the bait. They took the bait last night. Joe Biden he offered up, he put his line in the water, and he said something about entitlements, about Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid. And the Republicans jumped all over and said, no, we're not in favor of getting rid of Medicare, Medicaid. And he goes, oh, we finally agree on something. So now he just took that off the table as far as negotiating for this big old stimulus or this big old package that they're about to start negotiating on. They got Republicans, of which Tabitha almost went to Washington D.C. to see the rally. They got Republicans to say, hey, come over here and protest over here on the steps. Hey, you see those doors over there? Smash them and go take back your country. They did it. And we came in the next day on this show, whether you guys listened to it or not, and we said, that was a really bad, stupid ass idea. That was dumb. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted that red-blooded Americans with MAGA hats, and
They are not the ones who broke in the window, though.
I just said that.
Yeah, that was was the Antifa folks in the black.
I just said that. I said that they are good at pulling you in, drawing you in, and making you the criminal. In a lot of instances,
That's what Antifa
They are
does.
really good at making people who are protecting their property criminals. The media's in their court. They basically use it as a tool, and you got to figure out how to not jump into their traps anymore, because they're setting traps for you all along the way. They're setting traps all over the way. They call you a racist when you don't agree with open borders. Right? They call you an anti-climate person when you don't want to pay $5 a gallon gas. You step
Exactly.
You step into all of their traps. If you want to fight back, you have to learn how to be smarter.
We do fall into their traps, but it's easy to fall into the traps because people came to Washington D.C. that day to support President Trump and to stand up against the coup that took place against President Trump. They went there. 99% of the people who were there that day were peaceful. They were singing patriotic songs. They were sitting around a big flag. They were there for the right reasons.
Until Ray Epps started it all. Where the hell was Ray Epps? Has he been
Right,
found
and
yet?
Where's that guy at?
Where is he? He was
You got that right,
on the
Vic.
most wanted list and then disappeared, and now nobody can find him anywhere.
And Eric, this happens at most peaceful protests. And it happens on all sides. You know why? Because people like Antifa and the people who want to cause chaos, they're not Democrats and they're not Republicans. They are anti-government, RevCom communist,
Okay. Well,
socialist.
they're winning.
And they go
I don't
to,
care what you say about them. They're winning.
They went to a lot of the Ferguson protests.
Okay.
And they started trouble there.
Well, Channel 2 should have unmasked them because it's in
Channel
our
2
backyard.
Probably doesn't understand the dynamics.
They don't.
But
Local news
but the
doesn't.
police
It's not their
do.
fault.
Well, then didn't you guys go to damn journalism school? Didn't you guys learn how to really dig into the meat of a story?
I think
I did, and I went to like one semester.
Well, here's the thing, though. Yes, that sounds great on the surface, Eric, but once again, it's all who's teaching journalism and how to do journalism. I do believe that Project Veritas should start up their own in-depth journalism school.
I don't. I'll tell you why. Because I think then they would be too exposed, and they wouldn't be able to get the kind of content that they get.
Yeah, possibly, but you've got to be able to look at both sides. I don't know what's happening. I mean, I can talk like, hey, I know this. I don't know what's happening in the journalism schools right now. I don't, but I do know up until about 5-6 years ago, and you'll talk about some of these issues, but it all depends on your professor. A professor can change everything, good or bad, in regards to how you're learning. And it's also judged by the department heads. And then of course you're a product of your environment a lot of times too, Eric. So you don't know how to do that. And then you can get your job. You can go to a local news station, and guess what? You just don't go straight to national news or to Fox News or to OAN or Newsmax. You have to hone your craft somewhere. And guess what? Wherever you go, you do what you're told to do by the bosses. And up until recently, and I don't know, maybe not, it's changing. You're worried about being canceled. You're worried about being fired if you try to say, well, we need to cover this and we need to cover that and cover every story. Then you have a lack of resources to cover every story. Then you don't have enough time to cover the full in-depth story. I mean, there's so many factors that go into getting all the truth.
You should write a book. I'm not
called Cancel This.
No, you should literally write a book and say, look, I mean, not that local media, it means what it did 40 years ago, because it just doesn't. But I think it's a very interesting story to see the downfall or even the transition from a Walter Cronkite style.
The transition would be.
I would love to read it. I would read your book.
Transition time. I mean,
it would go from it would go from Edward R. Murrow to propaganda. So whatever Edward R. Murrow was back in the 50s and the 60s is what it would go to the leaflet drop over France during World War II, because it is completely propaganda. Omission is lying. That's the new cancel this bumper sticker. Yeah. If you omit something
trucked instead of the F word,
if you omit something in your national quote unquote United States nightly news broadcast, you are lying to the American people.
Well, that's the difference between investigative journalism and being an anchor at a news desk. And that's why, Vic, you would be a phenomenal investigative journalist.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll call you the next Barbara.
Well, I think she's right.
I would be fair.
I think she's fantastic.
You would be fair.
Yes.
And once again, that's all in the big plane here. It is. I mean, we just have to have the resources to be able to go out and do the things. And as soon as we get the resources, we can go do these things. That's what I'm saying. Donate. If you know people around the country with lots of money and want truth to be told in full stories, let us know.
And we'll name our street team after you.
Here's a question. How did a guy that's bald and has a UFC t-shirt on become the most incredible investigative journalist in the United States? I'm talking about Joe Rogan. How did he surpass CBS's 60 Minutes? How did he surpass Walter Cronkite? This guy literally uncovers information. He sees both sides of the story, and he kind of basically.
What's he uncovering?
I don't feel like he's an investigative
I'm not sure
journalist.
He's uncovering it, but he has some really good guests.
Exactly.
Bingo.
That are very intelligent.
Yes.
And he's no
boom. There he's not an expert.
And he's no dummy either.
Exactly.
He does his research on the guests.
Tabitha's uncovered more than Joe Rogan.
We are way ahead of Joe Rogan.
Joe is got a.
Eric always discredits us and gives
he's not discrediting us. He's just giving a lot of what Rogan has done was phenomenal.
I'm not buying you anything for your birthday. No, I'm kidding.
He was phenomenal because
it's the Joe Rogan box set.
Joe Rogan spent 25 years getting people to watch him and all of his.
He did.
He became a brand,
yes.
and then when he became a brand, then he was
parlayed
willing.
It. He
Yes.
parlayed it. I think Modern Day Zero is a much better band than Metallica, but Metallica sells out stadiums.
Exactly.
That's
well,
what I'm
you,
saying.
my friend, are
And-
delusional.
No, I'm not delusional. I
I
think
love
you guys,
Modern Day
you guys
Zero.
kick Metallica's
And
ass.
while we're all patting ourselves on the back, if anybody wants a class in marketing, if you want to, Eric, you should start your
No.
own freaking program.
No, I'm an idea guy.
Oh no,
I'm just an idea guy.
the things Eric comes up with, it's phenomenal. It'll blow your
No.
mind. It's
Yes.
like it's up here. It's just like, okay, we got to have somebody to connect A to Z.
No, it's
and
like,
all the ideas that you
you
have.
know so many
No.
things that I would not have a clue about when
it's
it comes
just,
to
it's
a lot of
just,
this stuff.
I'm like on this show. If there's a problem, I feel like Ice Ice Baby. Yo, if there's a problem, I'll solve it. I mean, it's like if you see
Don't be.
something, it's like a
5
brain
points.
surgeon. If you go into an office on this show, we have so many tumors in this damn country. If you go into a brain surgeon's office and they go, "You have a brain tumor," the last thing you want to hear is about socialism. You want to hear the doctor say, "This is how we're going to fix it." It's going to get fixed.
You
will
have
be
great
in-
ideas, but you
you'll
need
be
somebody
in-
to execute
If
them.
Joe from our comment line said we need to get Eric in touch with Mike Lindell, as good as
What
Mike
is wrong with you? I do
Lindell
not
has
need a
done.
pillow.
No, but what you
Come
can,
on now.
Eric's like the old commercial. Remember the old commercial, Sharp? Like, we don't make the products you buy. We make the products you buy better.
Oh, 3M. Wait, who was that?
I thought it was Sharp.
It might have been Sharp. Who knows?
Speaking of
Eric is the guy.
Eric is the guy. Do you remember when we
Mm.
interviewed Mike Lindell?
Yeah.
Couple
And I
times.
told him he should come up with a spray, a detergent to spray on your sheets and pillowcases to
For
get rid
what?
of COVID. And he
you did?
Yes, on our
That's
show.
brilliant.
Do
I
you
remember
know
that.
someone eventually came out with that product? It was not Mike Lindell. I'm like, if he would have just listened to me that day, he could have had his own
Huh.
spray.
Well, you guys don't listen to me
Ah.
about the tranquilizer dart, and that's all
Well-
I
I don't.
know. So whatever.
That is most of your ideas are phenomenal. And if you had somebody to execute them, and that's why when I say it's like idiocracy, I mean that in such a positive way. Because in that movie, that guy came in and the country was destroyed. If anyone hasn't seen Idiocracy,
That's where
you have
we're-
to see that movie.
yes.
Because
Totally.
it is
It's
absolutely
where we're at now. It is.
true.
It is so true.
and the world was such chaos and crazy. And this guy came in
Yes.
out of nowhere and he came from the past into the future and he knew everything. And Eric, he was just like you. He came up with all these ideas and guess what? He saved the world.
Well, his weren't ideas. His were just common sense of the day. That's all his were. But no, thank you guys very much. But I don't feel like that. I just think that we all need to be on the same page as saying, all right, we got to do things a little bit smarter now. We have to go sell our messages. Sarah Huckabee Sanders did a good job in trying to recruit new Republicans.
I'd love to have
last night.
$100 million right now to
Yeah.
recreate everything, Eric, and you would be in charge of all marketing and development.
I charge
Research, marketing, and development. And I already know where I'd put you to work, man. I would put you to work fast.
Just give me a dark office with a Coke and a Defender.
That's all you
game.
need.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And that's where all your ideas come from. And you'll be like, yeah. And Scotty's like, okay, we'll do this. We'll do that. We'll make it happen. Wait, I've got to go do an interview first, though. Let me get this over here.
And I'm sick.
Me too.
It's
Man,
like you're
I got
excited.
something for you out here.
Hey, by the way,
Antidote.
I see that. I was watching that. What do you got out there?
Yes.
Just a little
Some
special treatment.
vitamins? Some
Yep.
vitamins?
by the way, it
Little
is
vitamin shot.
cancel this
take it.
show.com. We appreciate everybody joining us, liking us. Remember, as always, to subscribe, even of the platforms. If you're not there, go like us on another platform as well. It helps us as we continue to grow the show. We appreciate it. That's for sure. Let people know about us. Cancelthisshow.com. If you haven't seen an interview and you want to, you can go ahead and jump in there. If you know people that would be a great fit from an advertising standpoint as well, we appreciate you. Heck, I've even looking at the research. I didn't even know if you guys realize this. 67% latest data shows that people who listen to podcasts are more apt to purchase a product or get involved with a product from a podcast that they listen to because they support it and they support the people. So it's
I
fantastic.
agree with that.
And we need a sponsor for our Cancel This Street team.
And for our
The Cancel This Street team. That would be fantastic.
what is it?
And
Cancel
Tabs
This
takes.
Street? What is that?
The Cancel This Street team
Yeah,
is going to be us going out
not us.
like Louder Than Crowder
It's-
out into the
It's
public.
going to be your team, Eric. You're
My
going to
team?
head up
My interns.
some younger people
Yeah,
and send them to talk to the Tashars of the world.
love it.
The Lori Lightfoots of the world.
Yes. We can dress them up in like unicorn
The
outfits.
AOCs of the world.
We can set them up in rainbows and unicorn outfits, and then you'll
Eric,
get right into the mayor's office.
Our street team, let's say you and I go out and do a street team, and Vic and Scotty, we'll go out, we'll set up a table like Louder Than Crowder does, but we'll play a game called Are You Really a Democrat? And I can bet you that the Democrats that stop by our table, we will convince them that they are truly not a Democrat.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
I play that game at bars all the time. I always win.
And by the way, tomorrow we'll have a new guest in that'll be coming up, I think in the 9 o'clock hour. Al James, talked about him earlier. Pixie Dust Seasoning. Can't wait to have Al in as we start to partner with him and check out his products as well. CancelThisShow.com. Check us out every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. live Central Time. But you can also check out the shows on video afterwards and or on our podcast system. If you just want to take it with you on the go, have a chance to listen to it, want to send it to somebody, you can do that from our podcast standpoint as well. You go to CancelThisShow.com, where to stream. You can check that out as well. We have a donate button there if you want to help donate to the show as well. Thanks again for making it a terrific hump day. Happy Wednesday to everybody. We'll catch you again for tomorrow's show. Have a great day. We'll have more of Cancel This.